Mic check. Hello and good evening. Good evening, Amlan. Good evening, Mohit. How are you doing? Good to see you again. I hope that your current affairs preparation is going good. Right? Today we have a very good number of interesting articles to be covered in the Gazette magazine, and we will begin right away. Right? So we have to cover quite a few good editorials as well today. So let's begin the discussion. Before anything, I'd like to welcome you all. I'd like to welcome you all to Edukemy's YouTube channel, your daily guide to UPSC current affairs. Good evening, Ashish. Good evening, Preeti. How are you people doing? Right? I hope you are also taking down notes immediately after the session gets over. All right. Now, today we will discuss the Gazette magazine for today itself, that is 21st of October 2021. Mohit Daya says, how am I? All right, I'm doing well, yeah. This is the time when I feel the most energetic throughout the day because I'm with you people. I tell you honestly. Okay, so today on Gazette, we have some really good, interesting articles for you, right? A very good discussion going to ensue today. So the hot shot topics for today are: one, the Global Food Security Index released 2021. Now this has some different parameters. This is away from the hunger index that was released and that created furor in Indian community. The second snapshot for today is on Renewable Energy Investment Attractiveness Index, and India has received a very good rank yet again, ranked third. Imagine that. And the third one is on Nihang Sikh community. This is a community of Sikh and it is popular, but we will know what is the cultural background of Nihang Sikhs, right? This day in history is dedicated to National Police Commemoration Day today itself. For some specific reason, we will come to know what is that reason. Featured news is on coal crisis in India, and we will understand this at 6:30. What is the specific coal crisis in our country? This is not related to the global crisis of energy. This is specific to India. What is happening in India that we have this kind of coal crisis? Why Coal India Limited is being blamed? Is it the actual entity which must be held accountable, or are there some other reasons to it? We will understand holistically in this article how to go about this coal crisis and what is the way forward. So interesting article overall. Image of the day is on a four-legged swarm robot, right? So artificial intelligence in activism here. The terms and concepts, the four of them that we discussed today are stagflation, Cambrian petrol exercise, right? India has won accolades in this exercise in UK. We will understand about this. And new Minilateral being formed. We'll understand this concept. And then Rosegar Bazaar 2.0 in Delhi, a good term to understand. Three editorials that we will discuss today are on India's foreign policy, right? And comes home, that means how foreign policy gets integrated with the domestic policy. The second one is on International Development Cooperation Agency, which India must have. We will discuss this again. And the third one is on National Security Policy, written by a member of parliament, a very good article here. Case study for the day is on a breakthrough, that is pollution to solution. So a person has won one of the Eco Oscars award, and that person is from India. So let's quickly start the discussion. All right. Simran asks, is this recorded video? No, this is not recorded, Simran. Welcome. Hi, Babani. Good to have you here, right? So let's begin this conversation now. All right. The first snapshot is on Global Food Security Index. See the name. This name is different from the one that was used in the past index which India criticized. India had criticized the hunger index, in which India received 101st rank. Right, and it also decreased in the sequence of the countries in priority, right? That means India also lost 7 ranks in that particular index, but India has gained 71 position in this index. And what is at least something that can save India's face in front of the world is that India lies ahead of a country like Pakistan and Nepal in this index, right? Although India is behind in certain parameters, yet India is ahead in certain other parameters. So again, this index is not an Indian index. It is released by a global agency, right, in UK. And some important things about this index that I have pointed out are, let me show that to you. All right. Yes. Yes, Ireland is the country which has topped this index, and Burundi is one of the countries in Africa, central of Africa. It has bagged the last position, 113th position here, right? Now, the overall reporting says that food systems remain very vulnerable, and in fact, the global supply chain of food has only gone back with time, right? This is what the overall analysis of this report is. See, India performed very good as far as new food security was concerned. We have a huge amount of production of food grains, and India also exports food grains, and that is what also helped survive the agricultural sector during the times of COVID. We exported a huge amount of food to countries abroad as well. So this was positive for India, but you should also note the difference between food security and nutrition security. Food security is just about eating something, right? And this is not about hunger, food, because we have availability of food. What is in question is nutrition in India, and that has been questioned globally as well. Malnutrition has to end. This is what the report also mentions, right? So one of the important things that this article mentions is that food affordability in India has gone very expensive now, right? So we are at lower position than our neighbors Pakistan and Sri Lanka in terms of food affordability. So it has become more expensive. Why is it that still Indians are able to eat food, right? It is because of government's programs, social sector initiatives like National Food Security Mission, and then we also have Prime Minister's Garib Kalyan Yojana. So these are the two important things because of which food has become affordable in our country, but largely it is unaffordable for people who have to purchase from their own money in our country, right? Now, there has been a decreased food security, as I mentioned, throughout the world because of COVID times, because of supply chain issues during COVID times, right? So this index considers four important parameters: food affordability, availability, quality, and safety of food, right? And it is released by a London-based group, Economist Impact. And this is what are the four parameters where it looks and rates countries. So India has secured 71st rank out of 113 countries, largely ahead of its neighbors, right? So at least saving some faces here, right? Okay. Wherever the reports are against our country, the government starts to allege some or the other criticism, and this is where we should know both the sides. So we silently swipe through this kind of report, but when it was the hunger report, we had two sides of it. One, what was the report about, how it rated things, and then what were the issues involved in this report. So we also criticized this particular report 2 days back, right? So this is how we must see. But see, as a neutral spectator, we people who are preparing for UPSC exam, we have to be a neutral spectator and understand both the perspectives, right? And let me show you a very simple example of how the government tries to make a comeback in situations like this. So when we had the ease of doing business report, India made huge strides. India went to around 63rd rank from around 140th rank in merely 5 to 6 years, and it was applauded throughout the country. Ease of doing business by World Bank. But when it comes to freedom, press freedom index, when it comes to democracy index, when it comes to hunger index, India does not respect these kind of reports. So this is how the governments do respond, and therefore we do not have to get into that political debate. We have to look at the pros neutrally, we have to look at the issues neutrally and present that side of the story about which the question has been asked to us, right? Our personal opinion is never asked in the examination, it is hardly asked. What is asked is a standard opinion of what is the critical outlook or what is the appreciation of that particular aspect, right? So this is how it goes, right? Good evening to Jaya, good evening Anonymous, good evening all of you. All right, second snapshot is on renewable energy investment attractiveness index, right? So we are talking of renewable energy investment, right? What is the status of investment in renewable energy in that particular country? Now India has secured third rank again in this index out of 58 countries, right? So this index is very good for India. Why? Because India has got India is the hotbed for investment in renewable energy. It is mainly because of India's policy. Not only India's policy, but also that India is one of the countries which is at a place where it needs more energy per capita, and therefore we need to have more investments. Why not start investing in renewable capacity? India has already had plans of having 100 gigawatt of renewable energy by 2022. And then we also have a plan of having 450 gigawatt of renewable energy out of around 850 gigawatt by 2030. Do we not need investments then? We do need investments. The diagram here rightly talks about the 100 gigawatt capacity. So we will have to have solar 100, and then we will have certain. So this reflects, the image here reflects the total capacity in India at present, right? So 100 gigawatt is for solar, 60 for wind, and then 10 for biomass and small hydel, 5 gigawatt. So this is what we are going to create out of renewable energy, and we need investments. India is the hotbed, and in fact the renewable energy pricing is only set to go down in the country, because we will have better investments, we will have better technology in our country, and that is why India is rated third yet again in this ranking, right? So we are also very happy, the government is very happy. Now a new parameter in the rating index has come up. It is called as it is related with power purchase agreement. Now this is about the long-term agreements that the power distribution companies have with the power generating companies. So India has been rated good here as well, right? 6th among the top 30 power purchasing agreement markets. In fact, there has been a recent amendment in India regarding power purchase. So the issue was, and we have covered that. So earlier the issue was that the power distribution companies and power generating companies have had these power purchase agreements. These are long-term agreements, maybe 15, 20, 25 years of power purchase agreement will be there. So if NTPC is generating power, and suppose UP state is purchasing, UP Electricity Development Distribution Corporation is purchasing this electricity, right? So they will have to purchase that certain number of units which has been already committed in this agreement. In case UP demands lesser power, it will still have to pay for the increased amount of power for which it had already committed, right? So then this will be a loss to the company, right? So now short-term agreements have also come into this existence. So we are talking about short-term agreements within the period of around 7 days to 365 days. This is where the government has mandated that they can be short-term agreements, and power purchase markets can be installed for shorter-term agreements as well, right? So this was a late amendment. We had covered this previously in one snapshot. Now, the companies which are doing very well in this index, Renewable Energy Investment Index, are America, China, and India, right? So this is it. And it is also done by, this rating is done by Ernst & Young, right? This organization since 2003. This is the update, all right? Snapshot 3 is on Nihang 6. Have you heard of Nihang 6 previously? Even if you have not heard, you would have seen them somewhere or the other, right? So these are the people who wear this, as you see in the image, blue cloth, blue attire, and they also have a blue turban. So very much persistent. They do not wear the traditional orange, kesari, orangish type of clothing, right? They wear blue type of clothing, and they're a particular sect of warrior community of the Sikhs. What is their main job? Their main job is to defend the Sikh tradition, Sikh culture, and they were in news because at Singhu border, at Delhi border, when the farmer protest was on, some person had disrespected Sikh community traditions, and therefore there was some allegation that there was some murder, and the Nihang community was also involved, right? We will not get into the political aspects. We will understand what this community is about, right? So this is a community of Sikh warrior community, and as I showed you what they wear, blue clothes and then blue turban. This is what they wear, and they were the origin can be traced back to the times of Guru Gobind Singh, when he built the warrior community Khalsa. So this was one of the community of those times. What is the meaning of Nihang? So the actual meaning that you can relate to is a Sanskrit word which says Nishank. Nishank means they are fearless, carefree, without any kind of impurity within them, right? Without any kind of impurity, carefree, without fear, right? Indifferent. So these people have left their families, learned some Sikh traditions to respect the Sikh culture and tradition, and they also adorn. They also have certain kind of traditional swords and spears, traditional arms, right? So in case the signs or some symbols of Sikh community are disrespected, they also become aggressive. They have also left their families. Their tradition is completely accustomed to the Sikh ways of life. So this is a quick background to who they are, and they do not have any allegiance to an earthly master, right? So that is the reason that this community was initially created, to be able to respect Guru Granth Sahib. Guru. After the 10th Guru, the Guru was Guru Granth Sahib, this holy book of the Sikh, and they will always follow the culture that was dictated through the book itself, the holy book, right? All right. And how do they survive? So when they are this community, they have left home, they are not in economic activity. They Gurudwara, they associate themselves with Gurudwaras, and Gurudwaras are the place where a lot of people they go and give alms. They also contribute. So this is how the whole economic system works. and they were also a major defender of faith during the times of Mughal, right? So this is an update about the Nihang community. All right, do note this down in your culture part, right? Okay. Yes, Bhabani, Nihangs were also in news for that particular reason in Punjab, right? In Punjab, where during the times of COVID lockdown, some incident happened. But this is completely political, and we will associate ourselves with developmental news, something that relates to UPSC, right? There's a lot of masala, but we will talk majorly about this. Masala to dheere dheere hota hi rahega, right? All right. This day in history we have dedicated to National Police Commemoration Day. So the police service institution. See, when you join in future, some of you will join the Indian Police Service. So that is the word, Indian Administrative Service. Service is the key word here, right? So when these people do the duty for us, right, we have to commemorate them, we have to respect them, we have also to show them dignity for what they do for us, right? It is not just about payment of money, right? Payment of salaries. So October 21st, this day itself in 1959, when India had spoken of Hindu Chini Bhai Bhai, China was attacking India from some or the other way. So this is the attack that happened in Ladakh region, where Chinese troop killed several policemen and also took several of them as prisoners. And they also returned the dead bodies later. This is the incursion in Ladakh area in 1959. And since that day onwards, that specific day has been treated as National Police Commemoration Day. So this is the quick history of it. And the police state police and the national police all around has been celebrating this day as a day to respect the policemen around the world. All right, feature news on coal crisis in India. A very, very interesting article. We will cover various aspects of it. Amazingly written article. And what are the various perspectives? You would be surprised to imagine so many perspectives to one article. What is the reason for coal crisis in India? It is not only global, there are various local factors also at work. And how is Coal India responsible? What can be done for this kind of issue? What is the future way out? We will discuss at 6:30 p.m. live. Image of the day has been dedicated to an artificial intelligence enabled robot. This is a 4-legged robot, and it is a swarm robot. What is a swarm robot? When many of these robots swarm an area, just like swarm of mosquitoes, swarm of bees, right? So this is the swarm of robots we are talking of. They also do something called as biomimicry. So they imitate the natural biotic objects like this. So if these are of the shape of ants, they will imitate some qualities of ants. They will climb hills. They will climb those surfaces which are undulated terrains, right? So this is how they will act. And now if they have those small biosensors, they will also be able to respond to the environment, right? So suppose they touch on a pH, on a liquid solution which has a pH acidic, they'll change their colors. These are the kind of additive qualities they can be given. So, and this has also been built through 3D additive technology, 3D printing, right? So layers of the part of this organism have been added, right? So this is called as additive technology. So do remember this 4-legged swarm robot. You can put this anywhere, right? Where we talk of warfare, where we talk of environmental indicators, you can put this example, right? A very good example. Also, this has got 3 components: a battery, a microchip, and also a sensor, right? Sensor which can sense the surrounding around it. All right. Okay. So moving ahead to terms and concept. And meanwhile, एक चीज कर दो sir, सिर्फ एक चीज for now. Just like this, right? Like this initiative if you like it really. All right. So this is the only regards that we want from you. Right, that you like it, that you share it, right? It's a great initiative. We talk of current affairs and we discuss day by day whatever is happening around the world, right? Every day, Monday to Friday. And you can find this magazine on Edukemy's website as well, right? The whole magazine is released around 4 o'clock, 5:30 p.m. we have the Gazette discussion, and 6:30 p.m. we have a live feature news discussion. All the articles discussed from the current affairs of 6 to 8 newspapers. Some of the articles covered from PIB and important government reports. All right. Okay, terms and concepts. The first term for today is stagflation. It is in news. Why? Because along with inflation in India, it seems that there will be also a stagnation in the economy. See, we have already had inflation in wholesale price index and consumer price index. In CPI, we are seeing inflation which is more than 10%, more than 10%. And this is very high level of inflation. We are also seeing a huge amount of food inflation. Leave the reasons apart, be it rain, be it international shortage of goods, entities, chips, that is separate. But inflation is still fine But in case we have a stagnation in economy, in case there is less employment we provided, in case there is less production of goods happening, and also we have inflation around, so this is a deadly combination for recession, right? So it is very much possible that India might get into a stagflation because of the situations prevailing. See, RBI will try to curtail the growth in inflation, right? It might try, but while it tries to curtail the growth in inflation, there should be some economic activity going on. This curtailing of growth should not curtail the economic activity. In case that happens, then we are playing with fire. This is stagflation, right? So this is what has been explained in this article. Cambrian patrol exercises, right? This is considered as the Olympic medal in military patrolling. India has won this. India has won the Cambrian Patrol Exercise Award in UK, and it has competed with 90 plus other important military organizations around the world, and 4-5 Gorkha rifles frontier force, they have won this endurance, mother of the endurance exercise. So in this exercise, in 48 hours, people have to traverse this particular distance. They have to move around in a particular way, and they have to not only track themselves, they also have to maintain themselves, help each other carry weight and move together, right? So this is not only an endurance exercise, this is also a team exercise, and India has won this prestigious award in also known as the Olympics in the military patrolling award. So do remember Cambrian patrol exercise. Why is it called as Cambrian? Anybody? Cambrian. If you relate to United Kingdom, Cambrian mountains, this is where they have to conduct this kind of military exercise, and that is why Cambrian, right? Okay. Next of the term is a new minilateral formed. We have specifically not named it. This is the new minilateral, and people are talking of it as the new Quad. We have had the Quad, India, Australia, USA and Japan, but possibly in case that Quad is kept aside, probably this is another Quad which is getting formed. Which are the countries here? Of course, India is there, USA is there, and then we have Israel and UAE. You know why? Israel and UAE? Israel and UAE are those countries which have already had Abraham Accords with themselves. If you have been watching the Gazette video regularly, we have discussed Israel and UAE quite a few times with respect to the Abraham Accords. Now, Israel is one country which is located at the Arab land, and it is one of the enemies. Enemies is the word which can be put for the other Arab countries. And UAE, along with Saudi Arabia and other countries, even Iran and all the Gulf nations, they would be considered enemies of Israel, right? So all of them were anti each other for a lot of time. They fought multiple wars. But now Israel and UAE have come together with the help of USA. They have come together. Why? Because Israel is a holy land for Muslims as well, and they want to conduct tourism, religious tourism. They want to conduct trade. They want to conduct business activities across. So Israel, UAE and Bahrain, these were the countries which initiated Abraham Accords in 2020, and now a new association gets formed. See, Israel and India has also got very good deep relationship, right? Because Israel helps India in technological fields, right? Providing nuclear technology, defense technology, agriculture technology, biotechnology, all of it to India. In fact, Israel's exports of defense product, it is one of the highest. Israel actually survives because it exports huge amount of defense products to India. So Israel-India relationships are time tested. Also UAE-India relationship, that is also very, very precious. In fact, 25% of UAE population is India's population. 25% of people living in UAE are Indians, right? UAE is the country which hosts our IPL. It hosted our IPL this time. It is the country which is hosting the World Cup right now, which is going to get initiated just in a few days, right? Along with Oman. So UAE has got very good ties with India. India imports huge amount of petroleum reserves and then exports back again. UAE is the third exporting partner for India. So you can imagine this kind of association, India, Israel, UAE and US, it is actually going to yield something for the country. Okay. So do remember this. There will be a lot of editorials on this new minilateral. It is also being dubbed as new Quad, right? New Quad. So what is the cooperation they are looking forward to? Trade, combating climate change, energy cooperation, health, COVID, right? All those things. Okay. So fourth term in news is the Rosegar Bazaar. Are you guys there? Why is there so much of silence here? इतनी शांति क्यों है? Any questions? All right, moving ahead. Rosegar Bazaar. This is an initiative by Delhi government, and this is just like employment exchange. This is online in nature, and this is a digital platform, right? So this is artificial intelligence based, where there will be authenticity of the employer. There will be also authenticity of the person getting employed or seeking the job. Also, artificial intelligence will enable what are the best jobs for me. So in case I'm a teacher, they can allot me to UPSC teaching. They can allot me to organizations which are into government exam preparations. They can also send me to the government bodies, but they will not be sending me to my profile to the IT companies. They will not be sending my profile to pharmaceutical companies. You understand? So this is the artificial intelligence which will match me to specific job that I need, right? So this is how it is going to get enabled. This is the 2.0 version. We have already had the first version of it released, and it was a very successful one. So you can put this case study here. 3 editorials, let us discuss them, right? Okay. So the first editorial is about India's foreign policy comes home, right, from Hindustan Times. See, the foreign policy of a country and domestic policy of the country, they have been treated as separate. They have been treated as different as of now. But in one of the editorials, I had clearly discussed how America has integrated its foreign policy with the domestic policy. The domestic people, the people inside the country, they were against war in Afghanistan, right? And they were rebelling this. So Trump and now Mr. Biden, they both have said that, yeah, now let us pick up the army back, and now we'll place them at the right place, back to our homes. So they have integrated the external and internal policy alongside. Along with that, trade. The trade with China, import barriers, they were all placed so that the domestic trade in America, it thrives. This was America's stance. So external policy was integrated with internal policy. Now external policy per se is what? Right? Defense relations, right? Trying to manage the external borders, external relationship, trade. But can they not be linked to the internal policies? They can be. Definitely they can be. This is what the article says. It says that why are we treating this as separate? We have to integrate the domestic and external policies, and it has given very good examples. Environment, can it be handled through only external policies? No. The internal policy of the country, GDP, gets impacted if there is an employment change, if there is climate change. What about COVID and health issues, right? COVID has touched the whole of world in a few months' time, right? So can it be only treated as external policy management? No, it cannot be. What about taxation, base erosion and profit sharing issues? All the countries around, 130 countries around the globe have agreed to it. Why? Because this is not only external, this also impacts the countries internally. Look at terrorism, look at cyber security, cyber warfare, artificial intelligence, right? All of them impact all the countries internally and externally both. When there are so many important issues, critical and vital issues for nations, why should we have the external policies as separate from the internal policy? Since people are at the center, the diplomats must look at external policies and how they can help the people directly. We, the people of India, right? The way Constitution calls it. And therefore, government also has initiated very good policies like Voice for Local, right? Local with the global. Make in India program is a very good initiative of the same, right? Then we have PLI, Production Linked Incentive Scheme. Local linked with global, right? So this is where it says that there should not be boundaries between what is local and what is global, right? All right. Moving ahead to the next one. Let me look at the next editorial and discussion. All right. Jaya says, "Sun rahe hain sir." Digvijay. All right. Anonymous says Quad 2.0. Yes, it is called as Quad 2.0, but let's wait for a formal name, no? All right. All right. The second one is why India needs an international development cooperation. This has been written by an ex-diplomat, ex-foreign service officer. In case you get into the service, some of you will be writing this kind of editorials. It says that the editorial says, it has been published in Indian Express, and the editorial says that India has had a very good image, a very good, big brother image when it comes to benevolence, when it comes to aiding the other countries abroad, right? India has initiated its goodwill policy right back in 1952, even before USAID, United States Aid, Agency for International Development, it came. In 1952, India started aiding Nepal. 1952. Those were the times when India itself needed aid, but India started to give aid. And you should see, there's a very good statistics. It says development assistance given by India is to the tune of $6.5 billion per year. and assistance received officially, official development assistance is $6 billion. So India receives assistance from somewhere, and India also gives it back to other people. In fact, what we give is a little more than what we receive, right? So India has been very, very benevolent in these terms, right? But India needs a formal structure for this assistance, right? A formal structure just like other countries have. China has a formal structure, right? It has got International Development Cooperation Agency. It is very aggressive in trying to help others to, develop their infrastructure strategies. Similarly, Japan has got one, JICA. We've called it as JICA, Japan International Cooperation Agency, right? United Kingdom has, Germany has, World Bank is there, International Development Association is there. There's so many associations, and India must have a structure in which India also gives its development cooperation. See, there are 5 heads under which it is done. The editorial says this, and if you understand this editorial, you will be right set to actually write an answer on it. It is a complete editorial in itself. The 5 parts of this are, oh, by the way, you should take a screenshot of this particular image, right? This is an important one. You should take a screenshot if you can, right? Meanwhile, I'll continue. The 5 parts of this integrated framework are capacity building, concessional finance, technology sharing, grant and trade rights, right? So India is trying to help countries in these 5 manners, right? Capacity building, helping them to understand things. Concessional finance, they will be giving finance, they will also take it back, but it will be concessional in nature. Giving them technology, teaching their scientists something, giving them grant, free may, and trade concession. That means they will be able to trade with India, right? And they will be getting trade concessions, unilateral concessions. India will say, all right, our market is open, give your products, we will purchase it. So it is good for them. India has done it with countries like Mozambique. Good example. Solar panels. We have not only helped the scientists, we have also provided the technology. We have also provided them finances for this, right? Similarly, Ethiopia, sugar units, right? Helping them revive sugar units in Ethiopia. India has helped them. These are good examples. You can put them, right? So this is where we develop opinion about things, right? So the main idea it says is that India should have a social enterprise, an enterprise to help not only the Indian companies abroad, it can also help combating natural disasters. Good example is Nepal, right? In times of crisis in Maldives and Afghanistan, political crisis, we can help through this kind of finances, right? Not only them, what about Kenya, Madagascar? We have seen these kind of examples right now. So these are the kind of examples you can give. This article can serve the purpose in international relations topic, in terms of governance, international governance, all those, right? So India has got a very good command over certain aspects, certain entities like JAM Trinity, right? You're talking of Jan Dhan Yojana, Aadhaar and Mobile Trinity. Not only that, look at the Gati Shakti that we spoke of a few days back, infrastructure building, right? And then Ayushman Bharat, right? The whole scheme for transformation of medical industry in India. So when India gains more of excellence in this, cannot be transferred to the other countries, developing countries. It will generate a lot of goodwill. Not only that, they'll start voting for us internationally. They'll speak on our behalf. So this is what the editorial is about, written by a foreign service officer, ex-foreign service officer. The third editorial, quick discussion about it. This is on the outline. This is about national security policy. A very good editorial again. And this has been written by one of the member of parliament. And what he says is that the future of the future of security lies in cyber warfare. It is not the conventional nature of warfare now. There'll be, see, the countries around. Why am I, little away from the screen is because I want you to take a screenshot of this. Geography, population and GDP of a country will not be deciding the security level of that country. A small country can also become a huge nation, huge in terms of power, in case it has got cyber warfare capabilities. We can look at a country like Israel, very simple, right? So it is not about geography, population and GDP alone, because the future warfare will be fought through drones, robots, satellites, advanced computers. Imagine if an artificial intelligence is the machine, and it will never be fallible. It will never fall. It will only keep fighting with the opponent. It will never fall. So these are the kind of warfares we are talking of, electronic warfares for the future. And this has been given a very good example here. It is about Mumbai's electricity supply. It was cut off for a few hours, possibly by the Chinese hackers. And this very well showed that the warfare will not be through machines, technology, weapons. It will be through electronic means. It will be through digital means, right? So there are 4 important things that must be thought of. One is objective. Objective of national security policy should be who to protect, how to protect, what is the critical infrastructure, the assessment of all the infrastructure. So one of them could be the President, Prime Minister, and the most important institutions, nuclear installations. The second level of infrastructure could be the government bodies, then all the PSUs that we have, important agencies of the government. The third level could be the monuments of national importance, all those. So this is how the protection, who to protect, how to protect, that should be clear, right? That is the objective. The second is priority. Priority should be on creation of new type of energy security. Energy security is like hydrogen fuel. We should also start having desalinization of seawater, using thorium for nuclear technology. Now what I'm talking of, these are frontier technologies. These are new technologies for the future, because there could be, people say that third warfare will be because of water, right? Somebody else says it will be a war between countries because of energy, right? So for example, very good example of energy warfare is the warfare that talks about the battery cells, right? Then nuclear technology, another one, right? Because nuclear is the one which is going to use it, right? Then anti-computer virus. We should have a virus which is anti-computer completely altogether. New immunity. Somebody says that COVID is a new virus, right? It has been man-made created. So these are the priorities that we should have in frontier technologies. Not only that, we should have strategy to anticipate any kind of attack, and we should preempt. Preempt means we should, before the enemy strikes, we have to hold that strike, right? So this is like preventive detention, right? Before it happens, we will detain them. We will contain that. We will contain the whole issue. And the fourth is resource mobilization for all these same. So this is the third editorial written by an MP, very good editorial, and talks about national security policy. See, these are the kind of questions, if it doesn't come in these terms also, now when you talk about security of the nation, this is what you want to talk about, right? So this is the third editorial that we discussed. And getting back to the case study of the day, a very interesting one. This is about pollution to solution. So this is an award which India received. To be specific, Takachar, a Delhi-based organization, has received. This is also called as Eco Oscar. It was initiated this year itself by the Prince of United Kingdom. We discussed the award in one of the terms, right? The award is called as Earthshot Prize, right? And there were quite a few finalists from India as well for this award. But the person who won, they won it for a specific thing, right? So you see these kind of stubble in the hay that is present after the crop has been cut. So this particular mechanism, what it does is that it collects the hay in this small particular vessel, and then after that you can, so the main agenda is not to create pollution, but create something that is viable, that can be used as energy. So what this mechanism does is that it converts all the hay, all the stubble into fuel, fertilizer, and other chemicals. How does it do it? See, if you burn the hay, the stubble directly, it will convert into gases, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, methane, all the other gases. But if you burn it without the presence of oxygen, it will convert into some kind of char, right? So this is like the wood char, right? And this charcoal is going to be very useful. It has not been burnt in presence of oxygen. It has been burnt without the presence of oxygen. What does it yield? It yields certain, so organic gases will get away, right? They'll get out of it, and what will remain is these char, and they will be helpful in creation of bio pellets. These bio pellets are energy pellets. They can be used further for energy creation, right? Not only that, all these remnants, they can be used for fertilizers and creation of chemicals. This is what has won him the award. So very beautiful innovation, no? Okay, now I would like to say that if you like this initiative, you got to press the like button, write some comments, and after this prepared notes, we will meet in 10 to 12 minutes time for the discussion on featured news, coal crisis in India, what are the reasons, what is the way out, right? And meanwhile, let me see if somebody has got some questions. We can help others. Yes, Digvijay, in COVID times, we can help others. Mohit Daya writes smartness. All right. So, with this, we come to the conclusion of the Gazette discussion right now. All is required for now is you to make quick notes, and in 10 minutes we meet for the feature news discussion, right? So thank you for watching, and in case you have doubts, please put them down. I'll get back to you. All right, biomedical waste is a major issue in COVID times. Absolutely, biomedical waste is one issue, right? So we have covered that in several of the snapshots earlier, and we will keep covering them as and when it comes in the news again. All right. So thank you, and see you in 10 to 12 minutes. Is burning possible without oxygen? I will respond to this. I'll respond to this in the beginning of the featured news. Just be there, Jaya. Thanks for watching.